24 minutes down and 24 to go at Memorial Coliseum. It is 64-51, the Portland Trail Blazers with a 13-point lead over the Utah Jazz. Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. Ernie Johnson in Atlanta with the Prudential halftime report. This is Dick Versace. It was a 28-point game in Game 1. Portland in a blowout. 13 the margin here. Your synopsis on Utah and their play.
Well, Utah is a team that depends on execution, sort of Lombardi-esque style of
Power
basketball.
Sweep. Yeah.
Right, you know, this is what we're going to do, but we're going to do it better than you can stop us. And what they have to learn to do, and they're doing it, and they've been doing it very well all year, is to make adjustments out of the solid sets that they run. Now, let me show you an example of what happens. You take John Stockton with the ball right here. This is the set they normally run. They'll bring Jeff Malone in here. They'll bring Karl Malone. They try to get him a deep post-up right here. And when that happens, they'll either set one screen or sometimes two, and then they'll bring the jump shooter, Jeff Malone, off the top. Now, this is the play they like to run all the time. They need, as the game winds on, to make adjustments, and they make a real clever one here. Now, watch Jeff Malone here. See Danny Ainge right here? He looks like he's going to bump Karl as he comes in, or possibly switch. I doubt switch. But watch Jeff Malone. Instead of continuing to set the screen, he backs up into the corner. He gets the ball from Stockton right here and gets a nice little easy jumper, a shot that he can make. Danny Ainge makes a nice recovery, flying at the shooter. Jeff Malone doesn't get this down. EJ, they got to convert on those kinds of adjustments.
Yeah, not enough shots going down for Utah right now. They trail 64-51, Game 2 of the Western Conference Final. Earlier tonight on TNT, Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final at Chicago Stadium. Michael Jordan and the Bulls. There's Michael getting the MVP, second straight year. First period, Brad Daugherty double-teamed, and here come the Bulls on the break. Pippen to Jordan, back to Pippen, easy as you please. 52-40 the score at the half. Lenny Wilkins distressed. He had reason to be. Craig Elo having trouble on Michael Jordan. Everybody does. Michael had 33 on the night. There's a 14-point lead. And then it's a little backdoor action. Nice feed. Jordan with the jam. 33 points on the night. Chicago wins it 103-89 to take a 1-0 lead. And Mike says Bulls went to school on the New York series.
Yeah, we felt the first one was the hardest one. You know, we had to come out and defend our home court. We learned that lesson in the New York situation, and they gained confidence from that first win in Chicago, and we wanted to eliminate that today if possible. So we came out of the blocks quick, and we really was going after this first game. And not that we're not going to go out the rest of them, but we really wanted to get the first one.
Yeah, they got it by 14. Take a look at this. 19 for 19 from the foul line, but Dick, you like this rebounding stat. What's up?
Well, I think it's crucial that Cleveland, when they play the lineup of Hot Rod Williams, Brad Daugherty, and Larry Nance, they've got to dominate, and they've got to win the battle of the boards to be in the game to trigger their own easy baskets. And when they lose on the boards like they did tonight, they're in a little trouble.
And they are down 1-0 in that series. When the Prudential halftime report continues, Paul Ryden with a report on Blazer Mania. We'll be right back. Western Conference Final as the Prudential halftime report continues. Last time a Blazer game in Portland was not sold out, it was April of 1977. Indeed, the fans there are a rabid bunch, as our Paul Ryden found out.
It's easy to get caught up in the things that Oregonians are caught up in. Why, a few refreshing days in the Pacific Northwest, and you may just find yourself jogging, biking, recycling, and falling in love with the Spotted Owl and the Blazers. Fiercely loyal, energetic, and creative, Portland fans have gradually built up to full-blown Blazer mania. Get this, the symphony was performing during last week's double overtime win in Phoenix when suddenly
the trumpet player held up a little tiny transistor radio, and the conductor saw it and said, "Turn that radio up." And they put a boom mic on the radio, and they began to listen to the overtime as an audience and orchestra together. And the first timeout came, and the conductor said, "We can play."
It's everywhere, from Portland to nearby Oregon City and beyond. I mention Oregon City because that's where 78-year-old Grace Struthers made headlines when she was asked to remove Blazer Believer signs from her apartment window.
Oh, I thought, no, impossible. Nobody could be that dumb.
Local residents and her congressman agreed. The signs went back up and Blazer Mania returned to the suburbs. Everyone gets into the act. If there's one complaint Blazer fans have, it's with the rest of the world. One writer, an Oregon native, calls it collective paranoia.
Everywhere you go in sports, you always hear the phrase, "we don't get enough respect." And you probably hear it no more than 312,227 times a day in Portland.
Well, we don't get the respect we deserve.
What's it like to be a Trailblazer fan? This is what it's like right here. Us against the world. By the end of the playoffs, everybody's going to know where Portland is.
Now, I hesitate to say this too loudly, but it is possible that, heaven forbid, the Blazers might not win the NBA title. Now, I know nobody around here believes that, but maybe this team has been so good and so fun to watch for so long that its fans are spoiled by success.
Thanks. Spoiled by success? No way. Come on, jeez.
Yeah, I do think they're spoiled. I think they take a lot of things for granted. You know, pro sports are very cyclical, and you don't always win. And I really worry about what's going to happen here when they hit a downtime, and they will hit a downtime. You're just not always on top.
They have high expectations. I think that anything under a ring, they just want to step, and that's the only crying shame about the sport here is that the expectation is pretty high.
We're not going to be spoiled by success till after we win it all.
I really think they are. They wouldn't cheer at all almost this whole year because of what happened in the 6th game of the Lakers series.
And that was a year ago. But say what you will about Blazer fans, 679 straight games have been sellouts here, and if they don't win it this year,
We'll still love them. We'll be back again next year, but we will.
And from the looks of at least one message in the arena Saturday, they'd better.
That is the shirt of the year. Got to get one of those things. I also like what they've got. One of the shoe companies has a Portland poster. They're out on the break and just this caption, "Uh-oh." And I think the Jazz have felt that way.
Does that mean because this fast break is coming down on you, or does it mean what are they going to do in the last 2 minutes?
The stinging wit and wisdom of Dick Versace here at halftime. Remember, still to come tonight, you don't get this on Inside the NBA, but you do get Fred Hickman, and you do get Doc Rivers, and a conversation with good news, Cliff Levingston, all on Inside the NBA later tonight.
Clyde Drexler with 36 points. Terry Porter also checking in with the big numbers. 119-102. Game 3 will be played Friday night at the Salt Palace in Salt Lake City. And we've got a couple of guests joining us right now as Utah heads to the locker room. Clyde Drexler, 36, Terry Porter, 41. How about 19 assists between the two, along with 12 rebounds? And now we've got, I feel like the Jackson 4 here right now.
I don't want to get too close to these guys. These guys are scorching hot the way they're shooting right now.
Terry, what about it? Doug and I talked about all night the fact you had a hand in your face and you're still knocking it down. Does that basket just look humongous to you right now?
Well, right now, you know, my teammates are doing a great job of getting me the ball in the right areas, and I'm just in such a great groove right now. Every time I touch the ball, it seems like it's going to go in, right?
You know, Terry, I thought that one of the things you guys have really done is Clyde has created a lot, and you've run Stockton into a lot of screens, and you've tried to wear him down, and I think it's taking its toll. You've got a lot of good looks at the basket.
Oh, without a doubt. That was one of the things I think we came in the series trying to do. We knew he plays the passing lane so well, and we tried to get the ball in the Clyde hands and try to make sure I get some good picks and wear him down so I can get some good opportunities. Clyde has done a great job of looking over and getting me the ball.
You're turning him into a point guard.
Yeah.
Clyde, what about this? Now, you guys, obviously, you have one thing on your mind, that's get to the finals. We know you guys got your hearts broken last year. Is this the best that you guys have played since you've been the Portland Trail Blazers?
I think we played better at this time of the season, but we're playing quite well, and I think it's just something you got to continue to work on, something that's very hard to maintain, but I think we can do it.
As I watch the Utah Jazz, it's like they keep saying to themselves, they've got to start missing sometimes. They've got to start missing, but you guys never gave them an opportunity to get into this game once you got the lead.
Well, they were making some clutch baskets as well in there. Their defense was pretty good on the inside. So what we did was just got the ball to Terry. He was scorching hot, so every chance he was open, I was looking for him.
Well, Terry, I don't know if you know your stats. 12 for 14 from the floor, 13 for 14 from the line. So you did miss 3 shots tonight, so, you know, worry about about that when you get home tonight.
I guess,
That's right.
right.
You weren't quite perfect.
Yeah.
Terry, what about the fact you and Clyde, one thing I've noticed I had you in the Phoenix series too is the crowd goes nuts. You guys walk off the court very calmly, and I told Doug, these guys are focused. They know we still got some basketball to play, and it's not over yet. You're not getting caught up in everything.
We realize this series is going to be tough. This 2 games do not make a series. We know Utah is a very worthy opponent, and we got to go to their building now. And their crowd going to be into it, and John's going to really be focused, and Jeff and Carl's going to really be focused. So we know we still have to stay very focused and get the job done yet.
Clyde, how about you? Same thought.
I think our team is on a mission. I think that word is overused, but I like to use it in this instance. I think our team is really concentrated. I think we know what it takes to get there. And although we're up 2-0, we still think we have a lot of hard work ahead of us. We highly respect this Utah team. And we knew it was going to be a tough series coming in.
Well, how about, too, and as we get ready to go, how about, too, that Buck Williams and Cliff Robinson and Mark Bryant doing the banging against Karl Malone. Sometimes that's not seen as much, but those guys are really taking some blows
Those guys are really taking some blows, and Karl is one of the most physical forwards in the game. And that's what the playoffs are all about. You just got to come to compete. I think those guys are also setting some great picks, and they're controlling the boards as well.
Well, I know you guys are going to want to see us again Friday, the way you guys are shooting it, so we'll see you in Salt Lake City on Friday night.
All right.
I hope so.
All right, Terry and Clyde, thanks very much as Portland wins at the final once again, 119-102. Game 3 will be played Friday night. When we come back, we'll have our Budweiser player of the game.
All right, back here in our Atlanta studio, Ernie Johnson along with Dick Versace. Portland says we're up 2-0, but we have a lot of work to do, and this man will back that up. He says this series is tied when they get done at the Delta Center.
Well, I like Utah. I've liked them all year. I like the fact that they played great defense, but they just hit an absolute juggernaut the last couple of games. Things will even out. This series could go 7. I guarantee you, when they get to the Delta Center in Utah, it's going to be a different story.
They'll have to stop Terry Porter. The guy's shooting about 70% from three-point range. He has been unconscious. Earlier tonight here on TNT, Game 1 of our doubleheader, Bulls beat Cleveland 103-89 in Game 1 of that series. Look ahead to Game 2 of that one, Dick, and what do you see Lenny Wilkins doing?
Well, I think they need to make some adjustments. They've got to come up with a way to control Michael. I mean, they had that one time, I think it was in 1988 or 89, where they gave up 50 points to Michael. And then the papers the next day, there was all these quotes, you know, Michael will never score 50 against us again. And he had 56 the next night.
Well, they were right.
So, you know, I just keep, and I'm harping on it, but I think they got to come up with some way to control him, make somebody else have a huge night.
We'll have highlights of both games coming up on Inside the NBA next year on TNT. Fred Hickman, your host. Doc Rivers joins him, and also a conversation with good news, Cliff Levingston of the Chicago Bulls. Thursday night, we're back at you. The Cavs and Bulls, Game 2 of their Eastern Conference Final. And Friday night, Portland and Utah, Game 3. That was from the Delta Center in Salt Lake City. This man will be here. Dick Versace will be here Thursday and Friday. So will I. Hope you are, too. We'll see you later. Bud Player of the Game comes your way next. We'll see you.
Once again, our final score, Portland wins at 119-102. Only 4 teams have come back from a 2-0 deficit in a best-of-7 series, so the Jazz have their hands full as they head to Game 3. That'll be on Friday night. And our Budweiser player of the game, no question about it tonight, it's Terry Porter, a new career playoff high, 41 points, 12 of 14 from the field, only missed 1 free throw, 41 total. Terry Porter, our Budweiser player of the game. And be sure to stay with TNT as NBA action continues Thursday night. It'll be the Cavs and the Bulls in Game 2. That'll get underway at 8 o'clock Eastern time. And then on Friday night, it will be Game 3 of the Blazers and the Jazz from the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, also at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Coming up next, inside the NBA, Fred Hickman will once again be joined by Doc Rivers of the LA Clippers next here on TNT. Once again, our final, the Blazers win at 119-102. They lead 2-0. For Doug Collins and our entire crew in Portland, Oregon, I'm Ron Thulin. Thanks for watching, and good night, everybody.
Seeing you again. Folks, I believe the Blazers won the game that will put them in the finals. Unless Portland collapses like Constantinople, this series is over. It was close in the first. Alley-oop. Kersey to Clyde. Cut the 3-2 Jazz. Then Kersey. Slick move past Benoit. 21-18 Blazers. Then Jeff Malone shoots an air ball. Kersey grabbed it. What a pass by Clyde to Porter. 27-22 Portland. Portland led by 2 after 1. Then Blue Edwards made one of the worst shots you'll ever see. Williams to Porter to Ainge. 38-33 Blazers in the second. Mark Eaton so slow. Between his legs, Clyde picks it up. 43-36 Blazers. Terry Porter was on fire. His third 3 of the half. 64-51 Blazers at recess. Man, Terry Porter was hot. I mean hot. 74-62 Blazers. Terry Porter again. Stockton went nuts trying to guard him. Then Jeff Malone. Clang. Kersey rebound. Kersey got it out to Clyde. To Duckworth. 78-63 Portland. Meanwhile, even Paul Allen's mom booed bad calls. The Blazers led by 10 after 3. Then Porter to Drexler. Up and over Eaton. 97-86 Portland. In the fourth, Terry Porter hit another 3. This baby's over. Then Clyde Drexler sees the opening, and he's gone. 105-87 Blazers, and put the gravy over the grits. Then Clyde to Terry. Porter's 38 points. The Blazers dominate like a chain gang boss. 119-102 the final. So, what a night for Terry Porter, a career playoff high. Terry should be on the Olympic team with Clyde. The Blazers are off to a 2-0 lead as the series heads to Salt Lake for Game 3 Friday night at 5, right here on Channel 6. Now, running and shots, come on in. Are you out there? Yes, you are. And listen, talk about that post-game story for us, will you?
Well, everybody in the Blazer locker room, Ed, of course, was talking about Terry Porter's 41 points that you just mentioned. Clyde Drexler pitches in 36. The Blazer backcourt pitching in more than half of Portland's overall scoring. That is the story. What a terrific game by all the Blazers. They're right where they want to be, thanks to that backcourt.
Seems like every time I touch it, it's going to go down. And, I just look when the opportunity presents itself to try to create something either by off the dribble or, trying to penetrate just to do something for my teammates or myself. It's going to take a lot of hard work to keep playing at this level, but I think we can do it. It's just a matter of continued efforts on the defensive end and bringing a concentration and intensity to each and every game.
Our whole team is just playing good right now. Everybody's giving great effort. I get pretty psyched up watching Jerome and Bach and Terry and Clyde, their effort out there on the court, and just try to continue the same intensity level when we come in from the bench.
Their guys, I tell you, their key guys were much more aggressive tonight. They wanted to take the ball to the hole. John Stockton, he came out of the gate shooting the ball threes, driving, stuff like that. But I think he's kind of nullified by Terry tonight.
They hit some big shots when they need to. We'll put it within 8, and then those guys will hit a 3 and kind of break our back. And they beat us convincingly up here. We're not worried. We're going home, but we're relaxed, and we're sure they're going to be confident. But we're going to step it up a notch when we get home.
Boy, they better hope so, Ed, because they're down 2-zip, and if they play, Utah that is, anywhere close to what they did in the first couple of games, Portland is going to at least get one of those games in Salt Lake City.
Running Ann, do you think it's over?
Yeah, I'm not talking about a sweep, though, Ed. I don't think Portland is going to sweep Utah. I think it would be a real coup for them if they could take one game just as they did in Phoenix. But I'm looking at 6 games, and that'll be a tough series for them. But Portland will advance, by golly.
Oh, okay, we'll hold it to you. I'll hold you to it. Game 1, back east, Bulls and Cavs. And the Bulls lead Cleveland 1-zip after a sleeper. Scottie Pippen had 29, and Chicago led by as many as 20 points. The Cavs hung around, but so did Michael Jordan. It's a slam dunk. Jordan with 26 points. The Bulls win Game 1, 103-89 from baseball. The Royals and A's win. Blyleven kept
for most of the playoffs.
I have. This is a good game for us to win tonight. I think we sent Utah home packing. It's a problem that I think Utah is going to have. I was listening to Jerry Sloan talk about the analysis of the game. I was looking forward to him saying, boy, did Portland get away with a lot of physical play out there tonight, and possibly he was going to call the NBA office, hey, look at the way Portland plays defense out there. They're beating up on my man, Karl Malone, who is our mailman who delivers the points for us. But I think he hurt the team more or less tonight because there was more turnovers trying to get the ball into Karl Malone, and we will talk about that later when we get in the turnover department.
Well, let's start and see what happened in this ball game as we check the highlights from the first half of the Blazers in Utah, Game 2 of the Western Conference Final. And as they did the other night, off to a quick start, Clyde Drexler starting what was an incredible run by the Blazer guards tonight. John Stockton, though, answered, something he did not do in Game 1, a three-pointer from Stockton there. Portland had the advantage there, though, leading 11-10. This was a close game in the first period. Terry Porter with another three-pointer. Duckworth finds him clear across court, and Terry has all kinds of time to set up and fire this one down. Jerome Kersey, a factor in the first game, was less of a factor in this game, but we'll explain the reason why in a moment. He was fine right there with the drive and the foul and got the free throw to boot. Karl Malone, who took only 6 shots in the first game, had many more this time. It was 21-20 Portland after Malone put in that shot inside. And then Jerome Kersey beating Utah back, coming the other way for the layup. And Kersey again a factor on the boards. In fact, his play in the first quarter definitely helped Portland get a hold of this lead here, even though the guards, Drexler to Porter here, were the big reason why. End of the first quarter, Portland led by only 2. And then Danny Ainge came off the bench to spell Terry Porter. He hit the three-pointer. He only hit 3 of 11 shots from the field, so the percentages were down from the field for the Blazers as a whole, but definitely not for the Blazer guards. Blue Edwards with the air ball. Danny Ainge comes back the other way. And then we'll see Clyde Drexler come back here with another three-pointer. Portland was sensational from three-point range. The ball almost goes out of bounds, and Duckworth, the dike in the way for Drexler, and so he shot it over him for the three-pointer. Karl Malone inside. He scored his points, but as you said, Greg, he wasn't a factor.
He wasn't a factor because what we were doing with him, we were double-teaming down here and Buck, and then Buck comes in with a perfect piece of acting. I'm sure Carl's going to have a problem with that one. But that's going to be the effective play over there in Utah in the next couple of days. And you see here John Stockton getting very frustrated over situations like it, and that's why I thought Jerry Sloan would make a point to talk about the officials not giving them the fair calls in different portions of the game.
64-51 Portland at the half. It was the push in the second quarter which put them ahead, and they never really were headed after that. Let's check the second half highlights now. This is Clyde Drexler hitting inside. And they're on their way again. 71 points at one point for just the Portland guards. Clyde there, and here's Terry Porter on his way to a career playoff high of 41 points tonight. Yes, 41 points for Terry Porter. I don't know that John Stockton knew what hit him.
I don't think he did either. And Terry was pulled out of the game in the closing 2 minutes. And Terry could have easily gone for 44, perhaps 46 points tonight. But he did pull him out of the game, and he had a tremendous game against John Stockton.
The only way for the Utah Jazz to get back was to try to take these threes. He may miss the first one, but Stockton does not miss the second one. And Utah pulled within 8, 92-84. But at the end of the third quarter, Portland led 94-84, bumped it back up to 10. Then Clyde, three-point play, and the layup here.
Again, the guards take over. Each time Utah got close, Danny Ainge or Clyde Drexler or Terry Porter just came in and were the heroes of the whole entire play situation. We see Cliff go very strongly at the basket. He had a tough night from the field. I think he was somewhere in the neighborhood of around 2 for 14, which was very frustrating for him. He's a much better ball player than that tonight.
But Portland made up for his miss with 3 offensive rebounds capped by Clyde there, and that's just kind of the way this game went. Here's Utah with the ball, but Drexler with the strip, as you'll see underneath the basket.
This is just plain hustle, plain tough hustle. They stayed on the ball. Their hands were busy, as we see right here, and they come up with the loose ball. And, of course, it's fast break heaven again for Portland. A big man moving fast toward the basket. Again, Terry strong into the hoop to finish the play.
Terry Porter, 41 points. In fact, Terry missed only 2 shots from the field tonight. Talk about being hot. Here's another three-pointer by Terry, and they really they blew them away in that category.
Oh, they did. When Terry squares up his feet and his shoulders, you can count 3 or 2 wherever range he's shooting from. They were 8 for 15 from the three-point range, and this will devastate a ball club. That's something like 21 points right in there. That's tough.
And Clyde Drexler right in it there, 119-102. And let's accentuate what happened with those guards. There it is. Terry Porter missing only twice for his 41 points, and look at the difference in the totals. 77 from the guards for Portland, only 45 for the Utah Jazz.
That's like when you get home, your kids say, Dad, what did you do today? Did you play any defense? It makes it very tough. And they played well. I mean, Utah scores about an average of 102 points a game. Portland scores like 112, 115 points. If Utah can continue to play at this slow-down pace, they're going to lose even in Utah. There's nothing they can do about it because Portland is a big team, and they run and they control the board. Tonight, the boards are only like a three rebounds different for the most part, but Utah's going to have to change their game plan. They're planning on playing this ball club again. I don't care whether the Delta Dome or the Memorial Coliseum, they must change some portions of their game.
Well, what will Portland change? Who knows? They don't need to change very much, but to hear what they had to say about this game, let's move to the Memorial Coliseum, where Jerry Murphy's sitting by. Jerry?
Lou, everybody was talking about the guard play tonight in the Utah locker room, in the Blazer locker room, among the press. I mean, that's where the story began and ended as far as this ball game is concerned. Drexler and Porter combining for 77 of the Blazers' 119 points. Get this, they shot a combined 24 of 37 from the field, 7 of 11 from three-point range, as you mentioned. And then you go to the home run plays, and those, I guess, are three-point plays, not just the three-point jumpers from beyond the arc, but also buckets, plus the free throw. There must have been a dozen of those by Drexler and Porter, and those make a huge impact on the ball game. Terry Porter making a huge impact on the ball game, a career playoff high, 41 points for him. He simply made his teammates better. Let's hear it from Clyde Drexler regarding Terry Porter.
When he's shooting like that.
Well, when he's shooting the ball like that, what it does is it puts a lot of pressure on the opposing defenses because they don't know what you're going to throw at them next. Everything is so quick hitting. I think it's really hard to stop. Our offense has done a great job so far in game 1 and 2. We've been able to get out in the fast break, and when we haven't been able to get easy opportunities, we run a good play and try to get something happen, try to get Duck at the box or Clyde at the box, and try to play off that, see what they do defensively. And sometimes it just so happens they go on a double, and I get an opportunity to get a wide open shot.
Our guards have just been unbelievable. I've never seen a display that those two guys put on. Terry Porter is just incredible. I mean, he is just shooting the ball so well, and you got to give our guys tremendous credit. They're really looking to find him. When two guys get on a roll like those two guys were on today, we're a very hard team to beat.
When you got both guards rolling, it's very hard for a team to really match you. And these guys, it's just an incredible game. It's it's a credit to those guys. They stepped up, and usually one guard will have like a lot of points, and the other one won't. They have a lot of assists. But these guys tonight, both of them shot the ball well, but they played team basketball too.
Yes, team basketball. I think the Trailblazers were smart enough as a team to get the ball to Terry Porter and Clyde Drexler. Also, when you talk about team basketball, their defense and the job they did on Karl Malone tonight, you mentioned he had 25 points, but he only squeezed off 16 shots, and that's quite a few less than what he normally gets. 25 points on 8 of 16 shooting. They did the job on Karl Malone. Buck Williams did, and his teammates in that double-teaming, swarming, sagging defense on Karl Malone. Lou?
Thank you very much, Jerry. And as he said, defense, defense, defense. They've been talking about it in both series, and it certainly was a key tonight. But why did the Portland Trail Blazers win? As usual, Blazer backcourt is one of the first things that come to your mind.
A total of 86 points by the Blazer backcourt. You see Clyde Drexler coming around with a turnaround jumper, switch right through the basket, elevates well off the floor. Terry Porter goes in, shoots a fall-away jump shot, boom, right over John Stockton, bottom. And then you're going to see Danny Ainge come right here, a little small fake. Takes a little bit off the ball, like your golf stroke almost, and goes right into the basket. These three guards accounted for like 86 points. Turnover, we scored 22 points off of turnovers to their 9 points. A big difference when you win a game like this, and Portland was able to come up with that very well. Then we move into, again, right, you'll see this turnover right here, where Cliff is really fronting Karl very well here, and he gets the ball, boom, and the ball's down the court for a fast break play. And these are the things that made Portland win tonight. And he had several of these down low against Utah. Corbin tried to get in with a shot. Good defense by Cliff. Blocks the ball. Danny gets it, and it's fast break city again for Portland.
Again, 22 points off of Utah turnovers for Portland, and Portland turnovers resulted in only 9 points for Utah. Aggressiveness, and they were once again, as they have been throughout the playoffs. They have not let up yet.
They have not, either on defense or on offense. They have not let up on their aggressiveness. They're penetrating to the basket, and when someone gets the ball down low, they're collapsing 2 and 3 players on that player, giving him no room to pass the ball out and playing the passing lane. And that's very important.
Next reason of why they won, the three-point shooting.
What can you say? 3-point, they were 8 for 15 from the field. Terry Porter, as we all know, only missed 2 shots. Here he spots up, feet underneath him. He gets a great look at the basket. Boom, drops it down. Perfect shot for Terry. You can almost bet the bank on that one. Here he again comes around here with Clyde. Quick shot. He catches Jeff Malone with his legs all spread it open there. Nowhere to go, and Clyde just goes up and throws it down. 8 for 15, you can't beat that.
Well, it's almost like a broken record when we turn to Ron Carlson at Memorial Coliseum. We did so during the Phoenix series. Well, did they break their backs? What's the mood of the Utah Jazz like after dropping 2 straight to open the series?
Well, I think the thing that's a lot more frustrating to the Jazz tonight, Lou, is that they feel they had the tempo the way they wanted it. You look at the stats and you see that Portland only had 17 fast break points, so Normally, that's the way the Jazz would like to see the game, much more slowed down, much more half-court offense-oriented, and yet they look at the scoreboard and they lose. Well, they've lost 2 games now by an average of 21 points here at the Coliseum. Also, Terry Porter, well, they say, look, we're frustrated because we keep on getting the hand in this guy's face, and he keeps on knocking down these 3-point shots. So far throughout the playoffs, Porter, get this, has a 59% shooting percentage from 3-point land, so he has just been incredible, obviously. So here's what they had to say afterwards, not only about the frustration that they're facing, but also, well, as Greg alluded to it earlier, they feel like they are really getting manhandled underneath by the Blazer defense.
It was frustrating the fact that we weren't getting the shots. You know, we weren't getting the shots to fall, or you know, we were working hard. We just didn't make the baskets, that's all. And they had great success. They're shooting the ball extremely well, and they're feeling very comfortable right now. And, you know, it's not over yet, though.
We shouldn't be down right now, you know, and we're going home, but we're a tough team to play there, so I'm sure it'll be a different ball game, but we got to be a little more physical with those guys and see what happens, because they letting those guys beat us to death.
It's supposed to be rough, but, you know, I guess at times it gets a little ridiculous. Some of the plays are just, you know, uncalled for, but, you know, just some situations you just can't control. You just have to just keep playing.
I hate to lose. That's probably bothers me the most. Because I never played a game in my life I didn't like to win or didn't want to win, and I thought our guys came out and did that, and that probably bothers me because we're down 0-2.
We're not going to make a whole lot of changes because I feel we played well tonight, and we played hard, and I think that's the main thing. Maybe the other game the other night we didn't play as hard as we did, but we played hard the whole game.
And another thing that they're talking about is the fact that Portland has not been known traditionally as an outside shooting team, and they're just shooting the lights out right now. Kind of reminds me of 2 years ago in the NBA Finals when Vinnie Johnson was in a horrible slump, came into that series, and all of a sudden he just was shooting like crazy. Porter has just obviously been the key to this series right now, and he's just opening things up for everybody else on the team, Lou.
Okay, Ron, thank you very much. Greg, we heard Karl Malone say they played hard, and he was satisfied with how hard they played, but they still lost. Can they win a game in this series?
I think if they're going to win a game, it's going to have to come from the fact that they're going to have to get the breaks from the official over there in Utah. With the double-double team, we were doing it with Jerome Kersey and Bucking at his backside. Then if they get the breaks there and get us into foul trouble early in the ball game, putting some of our key first-string people on the bench, as they did in Game 3 against Phoenix, then we may have a problem there because our bench has not came through. They came through well defensively, but not offensively at this point.
Well, we've been down this road before, too, with the Blazers, winning the first 2 at home and then going someplace else. Who knows? But let's check some of the statistics from the game before we leave you and get back to election coverage. Team results. Interestingly enough, Utah shot better from the field than Portland did, but that's kind of misleading.
It's very misleading because the way the shots that we're getting dictated the fact that they weren't shooting that well from outside, and Portland was shooting most of their shots from the field.
Okay. Rebounds, as Greg mentioned earlier, were very similar. In fact, Portland has a very small advantage of only 3 there. Turnover points, we mentioned this before, and this was indeed a big key as far as the Blazers were concerned. 22 points off of turnovers to Utah's 9.
Exactly. This was really big. When you consider the fact Portland only did 9 turnovers to Utah's 18 total turnovers. And the majority of those turnovers were trying to get the ball into Karl Malone. They were going out of bounds, or Cliff was picking them off.
And in fact, Utah made that run where they pulled within 8 with Karl Malone on the bench. So that further underscores that very strategy. Exactly. Individual statistics for you. We've already mentioned the Blazer guards. Terry Porter with 41 points. That's a career playoff high for him. Clyde Drexler with 12 assists to go with his 36 points. And the only other Blazer to score in double figures was Jerome Kersey with 13 points and 6 rebounds. On the Utah side of the ledger, a much more balanced scoring attack. In fact, on any other night, this might be pretty good for them. Karl Malone with 25 with 11 rebounds. John Stockton with 24, breaking out of the slump he had in the first game. Jeff Malone with 21 and David Benoit with 13. Normally, that would be a good total.
That would be a good total. They score their average. They're averaging about 102, 104 points a game, so they got right what they needed. But the other team scored 119. It makes a big difference. Somehow, they're going to have to find a way to put more baskets, balls in the basket, and they'll be in great shape.
Okay, the next game is Friday at 5 o'clock in Utah. The Blazers hope to pick up that one to take a commanding 3-0 lead in the series. Blazer Extra returns your way at 11:30 on Friday night with all the highlights and analysis and interviews live from Salt Lake City on Blazer Extra at 11:30 here on Channel 2. Oh, but we're just beginning, or still continuing, as we would say. Blazer Extra comes to a close, but Channel 2's election coverage returns right after this. Thanks for staying up. We'll see you in a minute.